Am I the weenie for pouring my boyfriend's raw milk down the drain because I found out it's dangerous?
I think it's a little weird to be like, milk, and then just throw it out.
If you were a weenie and you fell in the forest, would it make a sound?
I'd imagine that it would make a little bit of like a welt? A wet squelching sound?
A welt on the... A weenie crashing
welt.
in the forest is a welt on the earth. Welcome back to Spicy Reddit Stories, everybody. I'm Darryl. This is my lovely co-host, Brianna. And, here, you do it.
Welcome to the Daydream Arcade. I'm Brianna. This is Darryl. And we do spicy Reddit stories. So strap in. Lock in.
Strap on.
Strap on. All right. I'm going first, baby. My first story was posted by Snick Winch, 1922. Am I the weenie for buying a guitar with my boyfriend's credit card? I, 23 female, and my boyfriend, 27 male, I'll call Mark. We have been together for 3 years now, and I decided I wanted to get my boyfriend a gift. Our anniversary is coming up, and I wanted to do something really nice for him. He is
This is the first time, sorry, I was just like, they've been together for 3 years, and this is the first time she's getting him a gift.
Damn. He is a guitarist.
She had to be really sure, guys.
She had to be very sure. He is a guitarist and has been wanting this one particular guitar. It's a Jackson King 5 Series Pro.
Yeah.
He talks about it and said he'd love to own one. My hair is being...
I'm looking up. It's like $1,000.
Slay. He talks about it and said he'd love to own one. So I have always heard that the best gift is something that someone wants but will never get for themselves. I was at a guitar store looking for a gift or something, and then I saw it. It was a Jackson King 5 Series Pro.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! It was not exactly the one he always showed me, but it was close enough. It had the weird part where the string's attached with that little lever thingy, and the bottom of the guitar is all spiked. Sorry, I don't know guitars. I knew he wanted it, so I thought I would surprise him. We are by no means rich, but we live comfortably, so I didn't think he'd mind paying $2,400. I ended up buying him the guitar. I did use his credit card, which in hindsight, I guess wasn't a good idea. I just figured it won't matter. I just figured it won't matter since he never makes me pay for anything. I figured it would be an okay gift. I took it out of the case it came with and propped it up in the living room and waited for Mark to get home. When he came in, I hugged him, kissed him, and told him, "Happy anniversary. I got you something special." He went into the living room and just about jumped through the roof with excitement. He instantly started thanking me and telling me all about how special this particular guitar was in comparison to the regular King 5. And I just said, "What can I say? I have good taste." And we talked, and then it happened.
Uh-oh.
"How much did you end up paying for this thing?" Mark asked, and I nonchalantly answered, "It was about $2,500. But I don't think we will have a problem paying it off." Then he just stared and asked me what I was talking about. I proceeded to explain how I wanted to do something special, but $2,400 was a bit much up front. So I put it on his credit card, and I figured we'd pay it off together. Mark is not an angry person, but he was more angry than I ever imagined he could be. He just started yelling at me. I know I messed up, but he could at least be a bit grateful that someone cares as much as I do, right? But he ended up bringing it back to the guitar store.
Oh no,
But he ended up bringing it back to the guitar store, but I guess they can't return it because it was on a credit card or something. I don't remember. When he got home, I thought he'd be in a better mood, but he didn't end up coming home until late. And then when he did, he just went straight to bed. This was 2 days ago, and he still hasn't spoken to me.
Is it the thought that counts? I don't know. That's easy.
Okay.
Man, yeah, I might be a little upset if somebody spent like $2,400 on my credit card for a gift for me.
I think I would go feral because it's like, what do you mean you
That's
got
a lot
this
of money.
for me? Like, I got this for me. What the fuck? Yeah, I think I would also be a little bit upset.
Little bit upset,
Little bit upset because $2,500 is not a little bit of money.
You see what I'm doing with my finger, everybody? This is the upsetty spaghetti.
No. Stupid. Okay, so there's a little update.
I'm almost 30.
Update. Yeah, you really are. So thank you for everyone for comments.
What
even
is
if
that
some of you
supposed
were
to
a bit
mean?
harsh. Oh, shut your whore mouth. I can now see perfectly clearly how extremely foolish I had been. I'd like to address something I mistakenly said, as well as an update on events of the last few days. For starters, I didn't not buy a Pro Series King 5. The guitar I actually purchased was a Jackson King 5 Select Series KV2. And it was used in case you were wondering. No, I actually wasn't. But thank you. So Mark has been staying with his mom for the last couple of days, and we finally had a chance to sit down and work this out. We went to a small pizza place to eat and talk. I paid, hee. Oh my god. Oh. He explained while he was sorry.
Damn.
He explained
so
while
sorry.
He was upset.
I was also looking at the price for the KV2 version. It's a dramatic step in price. When I said it's like, oh, it's like $1,000. No, it's
yeah, it's $2,500 now.
This one at Guitar Center is listed for $4,200.
Hate that.
Ooh.
Oh, probably because it was used. It was a little bit less.
Yeah, 100%.
He explained why he was upset and basically everything you guys said. I apologized and we began to figure out what is going to happen next. I took some advice from here and I took a few of my expensive clothes to a designer clothes store called Future Fashion and got them looked at to see if they'd be worth anything. I have some Supreme stuff, just like a hoodie and a few stickers, that I got for my birthday last year, as well as a couple designer belts, Gucci and Versace, and one Prada handbag. Before any of you comment... What?
I don't know the value of any of that stuff, and that shows you how out of touch with fashion I am.
I don't know the exact prices, but I know they're expensive.
Oh, yeah. I at least have that sense, but I'm just like,
You said, guys,
I don't know. I don't know fashion. I'm sitting here in a professional wrestling hoodie. I don't know fashion.
Yeah, that's fair. Before any of you comment, none of these things were gifts from my boyfriend. They're gifts from my parents. And the belts and handbag are from a shopping spree my mom took me on before I started college. They gave me $375 for the Supreme hoodie. Didn't want the stickers, SMH. I got $850 for the belts, and he wouldn't take the Prada bag since it's not their specialty. But I'm going to take them to a few other places tomorrow, but they said I should be able to get like $900 for the bag. I told my boyfriend that this was my plan, and right now counting money from my savings account, $500, literally cleaned me out, ha ha ha. And the stuff I sold, I have $1,750, and the potential $900 from the bag should be, according to my math, $2,625, which means I'll still have some left over to buy him a real gift. I told Mark and he was glad, and he is going to be taking the money to pay off a chunk so that we don't get interest or whatever. I don't know how that works, to be honest. As far as our relationship goes, things will be okay. Mark has calmed down and just wants 3 things to happen. First, I'm not allowed to use his credit card without permission, which most of you predicted. Secondly, I need to show that I fully understand my actions. And 3, pay him back. He basically told me as long as those conditions are met, then things will return to normal. He does really like the guitar, which he admitted in a silly way to try and lighten the mood at the end of the talk. And he does appreciate the thought of it, but like you all have said, what I did was wrong, and I will never let it happen again, and I'm gonna fix it.
You know, at the end of the day, that's just the best outcome.
It really is. Like, you can tell she just simply, there was not one thought in that head during this entire transaction. I think she was just like, yeah,
we've all been there.
This.
I'm maybe not necessarily with a credit card or a significant other, but we've been there. We've made like we've had moments in our lives where no thought decisions have been made, and you know.
Yeah.
I get
it. Yeah. No, I think that's a pretty valid 3 little conditions that he gave her. I think just as long as she is legit about feeling bad about everything and trying to make things right. I think they can easily get through this. It was just a little hiccup, a $2,400 hiccup for sure, but I don't think it's necessarily the end of the world.
No.
As for the consensus, though, yeah, she's the weenie. But she's 23.
You got plenty of time to unweenie.
Yeah. You done goof sometimes. It's hard out here. She doesn't really understand how credit cards work. And that's valid.
Yeah, they don't teach you that in school.
No, they just kind of throw you into the world and be like, figure this out.
There you go. And, I think it is a little cute that he tried to lighten the mood at the end of that whole entire argument, being like, well,
I love the
guitar.
Do
like the guitar. It is a nice guitar, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
He seems like a very well put together guy.
Yeah. He seems, he instead of like, having this be like a whole fucking thing and just like berating her.
Continuing to take it out on her.
Yeah. He just like removed himself from the situation, like got his head right. Like they were more level headed when they were speaking, and like they came to a resolution. And I think that's awesome.
That's a healthy relationship.
Yeah. For sure.
All right. My first post. Posted by GGG Izzle. Am I the weenie for pouring my boyfriend's raw milk down the drain because I found out it's dangerous? So I recently found out that my boyfriend has been buying and drinking raw unpasteurized milk. He grew up on a farm, and apparently his family always drank it straight from the cow, and he's been doing the same ever since we moved in together. Don't think I've ever drank it straight from the cow. Drankin'?
No, drinking.
Making up new words here in the Daydream Arcade, everybody. At first, I didn't think much of it. Being a vegan, never drank it myself, but I started doing some research after I saw the label on it literally says, not for human consumption. That's always fun. Apparently, raw milk can carry harmful bacteria like Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria. I freaked out when I read that. I don't want him to get sick or expose me to something dangerous. Dude, I kind of have a story. Recently, my girlfriend and I went over to one of our friends' houses to do some meal prep. And when we opened up the freezer to move some stuff out of the way, there was a biohazard container in there in a Ziploc bag, like one of the gallon Ziploc bags. It's been in there for a long time. It was in the back, and it had the biohazard thing on it, and we called his roommate to see what it was about, and he didn't answer for about 2 hours, and then finally, after 2 hours, calls us back and says, we kept guessing what it was, and I mostly thought it was probably gonna be an organ or something like that, but the theories of going back and forth of what it could be were just hilarious. It was a fucking placenta. The person who lived in there before just never took it out of the freezer.
That is so gross.
Anyway, not for human consumption.
Just moving on. Okay.
I freaked out when I read. So when I saw a fresh bottle of raw milk in our fridge yesterday, I panicked and poured the entire bottle down the drain. I thought it was the safest thing to do. When my boyfriend got home, he immediately noticed and was pissed. He said he spent a lot of money on that milk and that he's been drinking it for years without a problem. He accused me of not trusting him and said I had no right to throw away something he enjoys just because I disagree with it. I tried explaining that I was just concerned for his health and ours, but he said I was being a control freak. Now he's barely talking to me, and I feel like there's this huge distance between us. Am I the weenie for pouring out the milk? I thought I was doing the right thing, but I'm starting to wonder if I overstepped. Listen, I've always been of the mind of if it's not mine, I'm not touching it.
Yeah, same.
Unless it just gets extremely fucking gross. If it's food
unless
that's
it's a
left on
literal
a plate,
hazard.
out in the 100%.
Yeah, I think it's a little weird to be like, milk, and then just throw it out.
I'm imagining someone just opening the fridge, looking around for a midnight snack that you just see in the center of the fridge. Milk!
Milk!
And slamming the fridge shut.
I think that's a little silly.
Yeah. Is it weird that boyfriend is going out of his way to buy expensive raw milk? I don't know.
I don't know, because she gave the context of like he grew up on a farm and he was like he's been drinking it all of his life.
Straight from the tit.
Straight from the teat. So I imagine like it's just something he's used to and he has like a preference for.
Not for human consumption, unless if you're a boyfriend.
That is very funny. not for human consumption, is just straight up on. But I have heard that like unpasteurized.
I'm still thinking. Sorry, I'm still thinking. Milk.
Milk. I will say I have heard like drinking unpasteurized milk can be a little bit problematic because there are like, you know, bacteria and shit that are in there.
Neighbors.
But, you know, I feel like at this point, this man probably like created a vaccine inside of him where he's just like immune to all of those bacterias for drinking it all of his life.
When he was born in the barn, the priest came and gave him a vaccine.
No, he just created it inside his body. Like after drinking all of it.
his body just developed antibodies to the raw milk.
Yeah. I do like this top comment.
I can see the listeria forming on the top. Ew. It looks like a foam. On a specific 6241 says, "You're the weenie. You panicked and poured it down the drain. What was it going to do to you? You could have left it in the fridge and then told him you had a concern. You should have discussed it like a normal person instead of reacting to a bottle of milk like it was about to mug you."
Milk.
Not the face. I need someone now to animate me getting beaten up by a carton of milk, like a life-size carton of milk. I gave you the sound bites. Do it.
Do it.
Oh my god. I'm gonna fall asleep tonight, and then I'm gonna see in the corner of my room just
a bottle of milk.
A bottle of milk with really buff arms and legs, just getting ready to charge me as I drift off to dreamland. Just jumps into my bed. 2%, bitch.
2%. Okay, and my last story.
Fresh from the tit. Her last story.
Fresh from the teat. Here's my last story. Posted by Alternative Stay 908. I thought that said Alternative Slay. I was like, yes. Am I the weenie for telling my friend that I'm sorry her parents don't love her as much as mine love me?
All right.
Oof. I, 22 female, have a friend named Amy, 22 female, who I met in college. Currently, we are in our last semester of college. I live alone, but she shares her apartment with 2 other people. We never really spoke about our finances much, but I know that both of our parents currently pay our rent. The issue started when we talked about our future plans. I told her that I'm probably going to get a job and do my master's at the same time so that I can save up a little, but also to finally have my own money to spend on some things that I love and to travel. She laughed at me and asked me what kind of salary I expect while working part-time to be able to afford all that. I shrugged and said I don't have any expenses that I'd need to cover really. Just food and that's it. She looked shocked and asked me about rent and stuff, and I said my parents will be paying for it. She then went on a rant about becoming an adult, how she can't wait to be independent, how she doesn't want to take any money from her parents and stuff like that. For the most part, I tried to nod my head and listen to her, but then she said something like, "I'd feel like a bad daughter if I were you." And that really made me feel embarrassed. My parents want to pay for my apartment. They can easily afford it, and I'm not the type of person to be ungrateful for it. I spend a lot of time with them. I know they don't lack money for anything. They travel, own their house, have a good retirement plan. They don't mind paying for me, and I don't mind taking it. We have a good relationship. I know this won't be forever, and I don't expect it to be. Just a few years until I finish my degree and get a higher paying job. I got annoyed and told her to drop it. And we can talk about something else, but she continued talking about how her parents want her to be a real adult. How I'll never want to be ambitious unless I struggle, and just more and more nonsense. Not sure how important it is, but between the 2 of us, my grades are significantly better, and I'm a few exams ahead of her in terms of passing the semester. I just cut her off and said, well, I don't know. Maybe my parents love me more than yours love you, so they want to pay. I'm sorry for that. Can we now talk about something else? We didn't talk since, and I do feel bad because I know that love has nothing to do with money, and looking back, it's such a rude thing to say. But I just said it to shut her up because she was insulting me and calling me spoiled for no reason. I wasn't even the one to start this conversation, nor did I probe into her finances. She was the one who kept it going. Ever since that day, I feel a pit in my stomach, and I really didn't want to insult her.
She was kind of digging it in, though.
Yeah.
So, when you feel backed into a corner, it's kind of you fight or you run away, and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's silly to like try to judge other people how they get by and like how they live their life. Like if you are fortunate enough to have like a family that can, sustain you while you're in school, like trying to establish yourself and like get your own degree and your career and stuff, like that's fucking awesome. I think if you are able to take advantage of that, absolutely. Don't do it in like in an ungrateful way and kind of like expect everything to be handed to you. But if you're going about it how it seems like she's like OP is doing it, she seems like she's just really just trying to do this so she can focus on her career and like get through it as like quick as she can, or like her degree, so she can get to that career and then, take care of herself and not really have to rely on her parents. I don't know. I just think it's silly to judge anybody's living situation and like, again, how they get by. I think that's silly. Like, don't rub it in people's faces or like try to seem like you're better than someone because like, oh, my parents have money. Like that's weird. But if you're just doing it and you're just like, hey, yeah, I'm thankful that I can be in this position. Yeah, you have to realize not everybody is in that same position, but yeah, just be humble about it.
You said exactly what I was going to say.
Okay, cool. There is like a little edit that I'm going to read. Just adding some stuff because I feel like it may be relevant. I feel like Amy's intention wasn't genuine because she currently accepts her parents paying rent. Her parents.
Parents. Beautiful sweeping technique. People are going to be studying that in universities for years.
Right? I feel like Amy's intention wasn't genuine because she currently accepts her parents paying rent, food, utilities, everything. So do I. The conversation was about after college. I mentioned my academic success because she said I will never be ambitious when I try really hard. We also don't live in the USA, and parents' support isn't so uncommon. And lastly, while this might not convince people, I really do appreciate my parents and everything they do for me. I don't plan to leech on them, and this is something they know, and that's what matters to me.
Cute.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I would say I would agree with the consensus, like overall consensus. Everyone sucks, because like that is a shitty thing to say, being like, oh, I guess my parents love me more. But also, the friend is just as much of a weenie because she wouldn't drop the conversation or like the subject. Right. And kept like egging it on and telling her like, oh, you're probably not going to amount to anything. Like you're not ambitious, whatever, because you rely on your parents or whatever. That's just silly. This top comment by 1962, Michael. Everyone sucks here. You are definitely a weenie for saying such a thing. Money does not equal love, ever. That said, she was a weenie for not dropping the subject earlier and trying to make you feel like you were taking advantage of your parents. Both of you have loving parents. They may not have the same amount of money, but besides that, they can have different ideas about the best ways to support your careers and lives. In this case, since you do have better grades, you are perhaps a better candidate for a master's program, which in the long run will make continuing to support you a good investment. She may want to continue her education, but her parents have decided they will not support her past her bachelor's. That doesn't mean they don't love her as much. They may have limited funds. Note, she has roommates to reduce expenses. Or they may rightly believe she's not a good candidate for an advanced degree. But you have to see that she is trying to reconcile her situation and yours without thinking her parents don't love her. Certainly, there are students who want to stay in college at their parents' expense for as long as possible and avoid having to take care of themselves financially. I don't think that applies to either of you.
That's a very valid argument. And it's just going back to the nobody should judge somebody based on like where they come from, because everybody comes from a different background, different walk of life. So there's really no reason for that to be a point of any argument, really.
Yeah, I think it's so silly to try to judge someone over like something they can't control, which is where they come from or like what they were born into. Mm-hmm. It's all about how you handle yourself. If you know you're in like a place of like, privilege, or you have a little bit more of an upper hand than I guess regular day-to-day people, as long as you are humble and you're not like holding it over people or like acting like you're better than someone, I think nobody should judge anybody's financial situation or living situation.
Right.
And that's the tea.
That is the tea. All right. My last post here was posted by Job Hate, AITA. Or
Job Hate.
Job hate. Am I the weenie for telling my wife I hate her new job? My wife, 37 female, and I, 38 male, have been married for 12 years and have 3 kids, 10, 8, and 6. During the Panasonic... During the panorama, my wife's job allowed her to switch to 100% work from home. They never required her to go back to the office because of her productivity actually increased. So there's, I'm going to reread that. They never required her to go back to the office because her productivity actually increased. So there was no need. It made things easier for us too. I dropped the kids off at school/daycare in the morning, and she picked them up in the afternoon. She was able to keep up with a few things around the house during the day. We saved on gas and car maintenance, etc. A few months ago, she was contacted by a recruiter about a job. It would be a nice setup in her career path as well as a boost in pay, but there were drawbacks. The company had no work-from-home policy and would require her to work in the office. This was apparently non-negotiable. It would also be a 45-minute commute for her. Oh! We talked it over a lot, and I expressed my concerns about how this would impact her daily lives. I told her that I don't necessarily think the bump in pay is worth the major changes to our daily lives. Not to mention the stress that a long commute can have on people, and that could impact their mood and how they interact at home. What is that supposed to mean?
The way I looked at the camera, like, what?
That's how I internally felt. She assured me that everything would be fine and that we would adjust as a family, and soon the new routine would just become our new normal. I told her that I would never tell her not to take the job, but I just don't know if it's worth the changes that it's going to bring. Ultimately, the decision was hers and she accepted the new job. She's been there for about 10 weeks. To say it's been an adjustment is an understatement. She wakes up and leaves before the kids even get up. She'll help get a few things ready for them before she even goes. But the entire morning kid routine is on me. I also do both drop off and pick up for all the kids too. Evenings have been a huge mess because I get home and try to get the kids distracted while I start dinner. When my wife gets home, she's usually stressed from the drive. Her commute has turned into over an hour due to construction and traffic, and takes 15 minutes for herself to calm down before eating alone. Then, after dinner, she's going to bed earlier because she has to wake up earlier. I told her that I feel her new job has put an unfair amount of household and childcare duties on me, that she's being far less present in our lives when she's home. She told me that we just need to give it more time to adjust and things will get easier. I told her that 10 weeks is a pretty good adjustment period and I hate it so far. She told me I'm being an unsupportive jerk and I need to give it more time. Whew.
Interesting. Well,
I mean, take it from someone that just went from working night shifts to day shifts. It takes a little bit to adjust to that.
For sure, especially a new job. Like, yeah, you need a decent amount of time to get used to everything, you know?
It does seem like it's also a very big adjustment for him. When he gets home from his job, he has to get the kids stimulated so that he can start dinner. And then when his wife does get home, it doesn't seem like she's necessarily putting in effort to try and give him a hand with at least one tiny thing.
I mean, he did say, like, she does some stuff before she leaves. Like, she tries to get things in order. But it's like, how much can you do if you, like... It seems like she has to wake up very early, because if she leaves before the kids even get up, and, like... school starts at, like, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I would usually wake up for school around like 6:30. Imagine what time she has to get up, and she's gone before they even get up. So it's like, how much can you do at that time?
Like what little things is she doing? Like, I
don't know. I think this is a very spicy situation. I think I would agree that everyone sucks, because at the same time, like, I know she needs to get... It's an adjustment. She has to get used to this new job, and I can't imagine the stress of having to, like, you know, go into a completely new company, like, getting to know everything, getting to know everybody.
I do not envy the fact that she has a 45 commute.
Yeah.
And especially when she gets out, that's during rush hour traffic. Yeah. I do not blame her for being, like, moody with, like, traffic when she gets home.
I would be too.
Like, if it's been 10 weeks, that's a couple months now. That does seem like a little bit of a spicy amount of, like, time.
It's like 2.5 months. Yeah, I think it just depends, I guess, on the career that she is in, because OP did say it was a nice step up in her career path as well as a boost in pay. So I'd imagine obviously the boost in pay is going to help the family in the long run. Like, she's trying to
I want to know what she does. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just does suck that it seems like he has to do the juggling act now, which, like, it sucks. Now he knows how it feels, but they should at least try and compromise on some things. It doesn't seem like there's really any
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like he's complaining instead of, like, trying to come up with solutions and, like, talking to her, because from what he said, like, it doesn't seem like he's really talked to her much about all of this.
Yeah. There has to be some give and take, because there's not I think it's also unfair for him to expect that throughout their 12 years of marriage that sometimes you have to one person has to pick up the slack while the other person is in like a bit of a bind for a little bit. And it's kind of, whether it's the man, the woman, or like whoever, whatever.
I remember when I was younger in my elementary school, my grandparents still lived here at the time, and they were like able to help like with me, like picking me up from school, like having me stay with them, like all that fun stuff. But at one point they moved to Spain, so that was just completely out of the window. And both of my parents were working full time. Like, they were struggling a little bit, like, with money, and like they had to focus on their careers as well and like trying to deal like with me. So I remember for a few months while like everybody, and my mom was like just starting a new position as well. So there was a few months where I would be in aftercare after school, and I would be the very last one to be picked up. Like, sun was going down, all the furniture was like packed away. Like, there was like maybe like 3 staff members there still, and they were just kind of waiting for me to get picked up. And like,
dude,
my mom would like run to try to get me, but it was like it was spicy. Like, they had to figure out a way to work around it.
Yeah.
So I think that's really what they have to do. Like, they just have to come up with a routine that works for everybody.
Yeah, I can relate to that 100%, because when I was younger, my dad would go on work trips for his company. He worked for Verizon. So they'd have to go down to New York City, New Jersey area and whatnot. And my mom picked up a lot of overtime, so we would either go to after school and get picked up at like right at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it was just, I hated doing homework in the cafeteria.
Oh my
in the
God, I did
program.
too, bro.
Could not focus for the life of me.
Because I was focusing on everything around me. And I was like, oh God.
Yeah, we had ADHD from the start.
Yeah, it was really hard. But yeah, like, you just, unfortunately, you gotta go through some tough shit sometimes. Like, it seemed like y'all had like it pretty easy when she was working from home and stuff, but it's like, you gotta adjust. You can't constantly be in this like comfortable position, because it's not always gonna be like that. Alrighty, hools. If you are interested in watching all of the other spicy Reddit videos that we have done, there's going to be a playlist linked at the end of the video that you can just click on and check out and binge and give us your thoughts on everything.
Binge and cringe.
Binge and cringe.
And guys, hello, ring, a ding, ding, ding. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. If you want to get these episodes on the go, you can get them on there. And if you're on Spotify, leave a nice little comment. There's a comment section now. Yeah. That's pretty neat. A Spotify to do. And if you follow this podcast and rate the show 5 stars, I think it brings us up in the thing, so more people can listen to this crazy wacky show.
Woohoo! Leave a comment in the videos too, guys. Like, let us know your thoughts on these videos. If you don't agree with us, that's totally okay. That's the whole reason we do this.
Fight with us in the comments.
Maybe don't fight with us.
Fight with us. We probably may not get a response from us.
Guys, I don't like fighting.
You can still do it. I'm sure some people will agree with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Call us ugly.
Okay, bro. No.
What?
No.